Hey guys, how's it going? It's Breakout Bag Lunch, and today is April 9th, 2026. I had two losing trades today and one okay winning trade. I ended up with about 30 bucks in profit for the day, which is pretty much break even. I took my first two losing trades in the morning in the New York session, and then I took a trade later on in the day during, well, not exactly power hour. It was around 2 p.m. later in the afternoon. So I'm just going to go over those trades and talk about next steps from here. And today I'm going to do something a bit different. I'm going to switch over to Thinkorswim because, like I've mentioned it several times before, there isn't a way to get the VWAP bands to display on Topstep X. And since I use those in my trading, I figured it'd be best to switch over to Thinkorswim so you can see exactly what I'm seeing when I take the trades. All right, let's head over there. All right, welcome back to Thinkorswim, folks, to my sim trading account that I also use for charting. As always, we're going to start with a high-level overview. So obviously the market has been in a bullish state for the past several days, as I've mentioned. We're pretty much, going into the session for today, it was very flat. We had this huge move up yesterday, followed by more consolidation, and then during the pre-market session today, we had even more consolidation in sideways price action. So I was kind of expecting us to have pretty much a choppy session, not a lot of movement. That's something that I had expected, but not something I had used to really think about my exits and entries, because for some reason I was trying to trade the morning the New York Open like it was going to be a trending day, and that caused losses. Let's see here. If we go to back to the New York Open, which is right here, I have the 5-minute high and low marked. At the beginning of the New York session, we had a bullish break at the 5-minute opening range. So I was thinking that this would be a good opportunity down here to buy once we had a nice retracement. And if we go back to the fib tool, you'll see that, this is, well, we had a 50% retracement here and a bullish reaction from that retracement. So I bought. I decided to sell once we had hit below the 61.8% area for the fib retracement. And I saw momentum stepping back in again, at least I thought. So I bought again here around 9:59 when we had this candle kind of break this range here. We did move up a little bit higher, but we then had a move back down. So I exited that trade also at a loss, unfortunately. And the third trade was just based on this very strong upward movement we had around mid-morning, late morning, I should say. And we had a break above the 2 standard deviation VWAP band, which you can see right here. So once we got to the 1 standard deviation band, I was expecting a move up for continued momentum. Well, we did get this move back up. I didn't have my profit target like above the high or at the high because the trend had already been going on for quite some time. So I just set the profit target low, and I exited this trade at a profit, which fortunately erased the losses that I had early in the session. And these are the trades for today. Now I just want to talk about my thoughts and just do a reflection as always. I'm going to remove this FIB retracement just for clarity. Now, when we had this break of this 5-minute opening range to the upside, I really should have paid attention to the fact that we had this move higher at naturally a bit above the 2 standard deviation band. And that's not necessarily always a signal to fade the momentum, but just based on the observation from the morning session, or I should say a pre-market session, I really shouldn't have expected a big move up higher or any sort of big trend, at least not initially. I probably should have just faded this instead to VWAP, which would have worked very well. And in terms of like a second move higher, since we were seeing this low momentum and low strength and trend, I probably should have exited this trade maybe earlier, probably a little bit below the high here. It wouldn't have been a big profit, but the profit would have been better than the loss that I had experienced. And something else I want to mention, and that's just related to the break and retest strategies, and specifically some disadvantages. So imagine you're a break and retest trader, and if you're like me and you use the VWAP bands, when you see this strong move higher, you might want to wait for a pullback to maybe at least like a 1 standard deviation band, or maybe like a 50% retracement or something like that. Well, the problem is that sometimes by the time price actually has that retracement, the momentum is gone. Of course, that doesn't mean that break and retest is a bad strategy necessarily. It's not possible for a strategy to work all the time, but that it is one notable disadvantage of break and retest compared to the breakouts. Breakouts do fail often, but you typically know quickly if it's going to work or not. With a break and retest, you can be sitting at your computer all day and not take a trade, and sometimes wait until there's a pullback, but by the time the pullback comes, the move has already been made, and that trend has ended. It's just something to think about. So going into tomorrow, I'm just going to pay more attention to these bands in relation to 5-minute opening range and just opening range breakout strategies in general. I guess today could have ended up a lot worse. I have a feeling tomorrow is going to be a good day, guys. We do have to watch out because we are getting a CPI tomorrow, which could add some volatility. It just depends on the report. We don't know what's going to happen. Anyway, those are my thoughts for the trading session. If you have any comments or suggestions, any sort of feedback, please let me know. But if not, I will talk to you all tomorrow. Bye now.